Swimming pool, no, it's not been in use for years.
Swimming pool that is located outside and it is planned for demolition.
Behind Food Basics and behind the public housing building at 200 Wellesley sits an old swimming pool, lonely and empty.
So what is happening? That the material that they use to build the pool, it has asbestos. So yes, so that that's a dangerous chemical for the lungs.
According to the Star, it was shut down in 2010, and since then it remained empty. Back then, some residents were complaining about tar leaking into the water from the edges of a newly installed deck. It appeared that the maintenance would be more expensive than what the neighborhood could take, especially that the pool was too old.
We find that it would be an incredible source for us to place the OASIS Food Hub.
OASIS, a food hub, got a great idea.
And then being in a community that is so densely populated, if it's going to be demolished, it could create a health factor, risk in terms of their health. So we were hoping that we could get the pool to just revitalize it and turn it into a food hub.
Which would be like this model, this sustainable, self-regenerative food hub that involves, that reflects the food cycle from growth to decay and composting and all of that.
For the community, a food hub where they'll be able to come and access food at particular times of the day, especially it doesn't have to be when there's an emergency, it doesn't have to be when there is a need, just to be able to have that access and to know that they're a part of a sustainable system. So it's like they're taking ownership of, yes, they're taking ownership of their own system. So if the community understands what that means and what it means to cooperate, then it will make for a better St. Jamestown, as far, yes.
OASIS in this community where we are kind of surrounded, we're kind of in a food desert, because even though we have this one Food Basics grocery store, it's not the freshest and it's not not nutritious, and it doesn't necessarily serve some members of the community who may be coming from climates where their produce and the things that they eat are not normally served in a Western grocery store. So that's another pillar of the food hub, is kind of embracing the different cultures of people and the different walks of life that are found in St. Jamestown, and to be able to give everyone the food that they need, because you can't just give everyone the same kind of diet. Everyone's diet is unique, and a lot of the time the food support that's available for people.
On donations right now, as well as we're always doing grant proposals. We got a grant from Second Harvest to help us with the emergency food distribution. We also have just a huge team of volunteers, co-op members. Our volunteers are also workers. As much as sometimes we get paid, sometimes we don't, and we try to. Part of the reason we're building up this time bank system where we exchange our time and skills kind of outside of a monetary economy, and trying to just build up resiliency that way, because money is not always accessible, and when it is, the primary thing it goes to is the emergency food program. So we've been fortunate to have really strong relationships with some of our partners, like Global Medic, who's been supporting us with the dry goods, and Food Share, who has also provided us with a couple of subsidies for their boxes. Yeah, so we just, to be honest, we just advocate really hard. We work really hard. We try and spread the word about what we're doing.
Josephine Gray, the founder of this organization, tells us about OASIS.
I'm Josephine Gray. I'm a longtime resident in this community. I raised my 4 children here. Our OASIS Food Hub was designed by and for our very crowded low-income neighborhood. We have a majority of newcomers, and this neighborhood tends to be quite quiet, so it's been overlooked and underserved for a long time, and this has created growing food insecurity. We found that we are facing a lot of the problems and impacts that are facing the world. You know, we have the climate change emergencies, food waste, inequality, climate refugee crises. At this point, we're also seeing a lot of depression, mental health issues. There's been a massive increase in suicides and overdose deaths and the like. So, you know, for us, it's incredibly important to be able to be responsive and react quickly to changes. So we're able to work with our members to create an emergency food project that could maintain the principles of providing healthy food, working with our farmers and with Food Share on the Good Food Box and African Food Basket and the like. And the way we do this is we speak to our members who are residents, but we also survey the people that we're bringing food to, and we ask, you know, what are the gaps, what are the needs for, you know, we've, for instance, engaged with Muslim welfare so that we can bring in halal foods, that we could add, you know, raw chicken and things like that once we got a freezer. So basically, whatever needs are emerging from the feedback, we use a developmental evaluation process at all times in order to be able to meet our co-op members' needs. You know, and this is one of the wonders and beauties of using a cooperative model, because it's sort of built into the principles of cooperatives that, you know, every member is an owner, that everybody takes responsibility as well as has rights, and we, you know, work to assess and respect and meet the needs of our members at the same time as have control over the decisions that generate our activities, whether it's with the city or funders or the federal government. You know, it's the same body that responds and reacts to what the community needs. It's the same body that then advocates or lobbies to get the resources we need to be able to grow our model. So it can be very challenging sometimes, being trapped between the realities of a very unique and diverse community and the sometimes very outdated zoning, regulatory systems and the like. So some parts of the model have been a lot harder to advance than others. You know, we've had a lot of success with our Good Food Buying Club. It was what allowed us to do such an effective, healthy emergency food project. At the same time, we know it's going to be a long process to overcome obstacles in order to be able to get to our aquaponics facility and our mushroom growing and our composting and the like. There's a lot of regulations that we're going to have to get changed in order to make that work. For now, however, you know, we have our 3-bin compost system in our community garden, and members bring their compost there, and we can, you know, pilot, in a sense, the process of composting healthy food waste and putting it back into the soil of the garden. We have 9 residents gardening there, and some of that compost even goes into the balcony gardening. And as, you know, each component grows and becomes larger, we predict, or we have ready the ability to then manage that scale. So for example, as our composting volume grows, we will be able to bring more compost out to the farms as well as just our garden. As our ability to grow food expands, we will hopefully be able to fill in the gaps and provide more and more of the fresh food, particularly in the winters, so that we are still able to get local food that doesn't have to be trucked anywhere. But in the meantime, we use the best sources we can until we're able to grow ourselves. I guess another thing is we do quite a bit of work with our resident members to make sure they understand how the model works, how the co-op works, how to govern, how to help us govern as a board. It's very important that all the members are making informed decisions. You know, we share our plans, our budgets, our financial reporting with our membership. So it's very important to be transparent. We utilize the human rights framework to help people be able to work together across many differences so that they can respect each other and not discriminate, but also maintain a focus on the target of the human right to food, of making sure that the people who are working with us, for us, have good working conditions and fair wages, The human rights framework is very, very useful for these things. So there's a lot of different, and it also helps us when we approach government or when we approach, decision makers, when we explain that we are aligned with the policies that the city has agreed to, or we are aligning with human rights commitments that governments have made, or you show them how we are aligning with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the government is obliged itself to respect. It helps both sides to be able to hopefully move forward and innovate and overcome some of the outdated barriers that we're facing.
The items for the bulk food buying club, and then between 2 to 5 today, all the people that bought will come and pick up their items.
Basically, as a volunteer with the Bulk Food Buying Club, which now we are calling the Good Food Buying Club, and I basically was interested because of what was happening with COVID. I've always been a volunteer with other organizations in Toronto. So because since I'm living in St. Jamestown since 2017, I've always felt compelled to do something for the community. So being able to sign up to this was a part of that, and since being a part of it, I am here doing the volunteer delivery coordinating. So I am the person that actually organizes how the boxes are packed, how they get out, and I am the one that also coordinate how the volunteers actually deliver the boxes. So that's basically what I do. I do a lot of community outreach also too, because I deal with the East Africans. I deal with the African community. I try to make contact with them, especially through the mothers, because I have a daughter at the elementary school. So I do connection through my parenting. So that's how I do a lot of the outreach. And yes, I give them information, and I also encourage them to sign up to programs. I try to get them information in terms of tutoring and so forth, and just to keep them in the loop about what is happening and to make sure that their needs are being met by us in some sort of way.
I am the Food and Engagement Manager for the St. Jamestown Co-op. I've been working with the co-op since I guess December 2019. That's when I started getting involved as a volunteer and started working for the co-op in the summer of 2020. So as the food and engagement coordinator, I help oversee and manage the bulk food buying club, but I now have a coordinator who helps me arrange all that. I am the coordinator at the community garden, and I coordinate the food that the bringing in of food, whether it be from farmers or from our food share boxes, or collaborating with Global Medic, who provides us with dry goods, or has been for the past few months, as well as other food suppliers in our area.
It's very important that all the members are making informed decisions. We share our plans, our budgets, our financial reporting with our membership. So it's very important to be transparent. We utilize the human rights framework to help people be able to work together across many differences so that they can respect each other and not discriminate, but also maintain a focus on the target of the human right to food, of making sure that the people who are working with us, for us, have good working conditions and fair wages. The human rights framework is very, very useful for these things. So there's a lot of different, and it also helps us when we approach government or when we approach, decision makers, when we explain that we are aligned with the policies that the city has agreed to, or we are aligning with human rights commitments that governments have made, or you show them how we are aligning with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the government is obliged itself to respect. It helps both sides to be able to hopefully move forward and innovate and overcome some of the outdated barriers that we're facing. Working towards organic food production, as we're developing the components, we keep in mind, are we being sustainable with our packaging? We use cardboard and paper bags. We try not to use too much plastic. It's very hard in the pandemic. We keep in mind, you know, where the food is coming from. Is it, how organic is it? You know, if we think it might have pesticides, we clean it first. As many ways as we can find organic sources, we try to do that. So most of our dried goods are organic. I guess we just try to like maintain balance between the principles of sustainability, of the human right to food, of agroecology, right? And of community ownership. That's a very important piece, so that people need to know what's happening, have a say in what's happening, you know, be able to determine what they eat, right? This is very important in order for us to respect the human right to food and also to build a strong co-op, right? So the co-op having this project of the OASIS Food Hub is like the big focus. It's not our only focus, but it's the main focus. And you know, the information just circulates between different working groups, and the staff now we have, you know, somebody on developmental evaluation, a food manager, a project manager, and as we survey people and bring in information, we just act on that and we figure out how we're going to, you know, change this or fix that or make this better, or we find a new information coming in all the time. Oh, look, here's another farm over here that we could be talking to. Oh, my goodness, here's a trading company that brings in really good imports of coconut or something, right? And then we figure out how to loop that in, but there's always a set of principles involved. And it's co-op principles, human rights principles, environmental principles. So that we just try to keep those lenses and those frameworks running through whatever we're doing.
The pool may get demolished, or maybe hopefully will be used to help OASIS turning the food desert in St. Jamestown into a real oasis. Anyways, that pool that sat there for many years without doing anything will remain a symbol of how great solutions can come from creative ideas.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out all of our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.